The first one is the pointy one. It's special, the gargantuous sleeve. So to start off, you're going to cut your basic sleeve template. It depends on your measurement. So everyone should have their template. You can cut it in a fold and a half this way, or if you prefer it, you can have it on a spread where you can open. I prefer this actually because it just makes me see things clearly. So have your template and have all the tools you need. You definitely need your paper, your sewing tools, your markers and stuff, all the things you use for your sewing and cutting projects. Now we're going to use this as our template, as our base. Then we'll draft the other part. Each sleeve is going to have 3 parts. We're going to have the pointed edge, you're going to have the facing, and a basic one. It's not as difficult as it sounds, but let's start somehow. I don't want to be cutting this on a fold. I'll just use this to explain. First of all, with this, you have this on the center fold of your paper or fabric. Having this here, how high you want your sleeve to point. Of course, I know you want to watch this video to the end before you start practicing, which is better because it makes things easier to understand for you. Then you can also adapt the patterns to fit whatever you want to do. So the length you have up here, the number, the amount of centimeters or inches you have here is going to give you the sharpness or the height of the pointy sleeve that you want to cut. So if you want to make a statement, make it quite long. Let me explain the basic parts of the sleeve that makes it different from the regular sleeve that you have. The first part is we have this extra part at the upper section, and that's the part that creates the pointed shape. So the height you want to, how pointed, how extra you want your sleeve to be will give you the number of inches or centimeters that you leave here, which is entirely up to you or your design or the sketch that you have that you're using to design. So if you want something really bogus, something that when the person wearing it enters and make a statement, or something that is so simple and all you want to show off is the sleeve, you can do that. But if you want something moderate, you can reduce the inches or the centimeters you used here. So whatever you use here is up to you. That is the part 1 of the sleeve. Then we need the facing. We're going to cut the facing off. We're going to redraft this one, create another one here. We're going to have a facing for it, and we're going to have a piece that looks exactly like this to close the edge of, to close the sleeve itself. So let's go. Now, in this example, I'm going to be using something minimal. Let's say 5 inches. 5 inches is okay. It's not really so minimal. It's still something, because imagine 5 inches popping out of your shoulder. That is a lot. Then let me mention as well, you have the liberty of either making your shoulder of your garment, you can raise the shoulder up if you want this to really look big, or if you can lower it as well if you don't want to make it look too pointy. So those things are up to you. You have 5 inches here. Then you bring this here to match this. I said earlier, I'm going to be using just half of my paper to cut, since I'm going to be folding my fabric on 2. Then when I'm folding the fabric, this is going to be like a CF, this is a center fold. So this guides me when I'm doing. Then the next part is you have to determine where this stops on the sleeve. This is very important. Most importantly, or especially when you want to join into your fabric, because if you don't have a point here, if you don't have a notch mark here, you're just going to be confused on where to allow the point to lay. This is going to be clearer when you see me sewing. You can't really understand this here, but have a point. So if you have this, when you see the finished one and finished sample I'm doing, then you understand this part. So when you're drafting yours, and you can say, okay, I don't want mine to be that pointy. I don't want mine to be that extra. I want to leave this here or here. I want mine to be more. Then you can leave it more open, or I want to put stay inside it. I want to use stay. I want to use stiff. I want to create a really big statement for my design. Then go ahead and have fun. But note, here I'm just going to be using a random mark here. That's it. That's where I want this to be. So I'm going to remember this on all the pieces of my sleeve. And I told you, you're going to have 3 on each. So each one I cut, of course, I'm going to cut it twice. Okay. Then where this is, from here, I'm going to have a straight line going from here to here. So this is my new sleeve pattern. Is that okay? It's as simple as that. I should have conveniently drawn another pattern here, so I don't want to forget this. And this is center fold. Remember, this is center fold. If you want your sleeve to be longer, maybe you have this template and you want to make a longer sleeve just to lengthen it. If you want to tape it in, remember you're going to have the part that goes in, and that part usually goes like this. I've done this in many other videos. If you're not clear about that, you can leave a question or send me a message. I can take you on that again, or look through any of the videos, and that will be so clear. So we have this done. And what is our next step? The next thing to do is to just know that, okay, where do I want my facing to stop? I'm just going to have a line in another color. So when I'm cutting that part in fabric, I know, okay, this is the part that, so the facing, this one is going to have a facing. This particular sleeve that has a pointy edge, one sleeve looks like this, remember? One sleeve looks like this folded, then one sleeve looks like this. The facing can be as long as you want it. There's no rule to it, so just have its line. So I have this mark, one sleeve. I have this, so you remember, and this one as well. It goes all the way here. I'm just putting the orange line all the way up so that you remember that there's a black one, then the orange one is pattern 2, and this is our pattern 3. Now for the first sample I'll be doing, we have the 3 parts cut out already, but let me explain so you can have a good understanding. I cut a small sample of the front and the back, and I joined the shoulders together. Of course, you know you have to join your shoulder before you start fixing the sleeve. I am making a mini sample, a miniature version, so that you can understand better. And I will strongly advise you do a sample test first. I know most of us will just want to rush, sew and make our garments and make everything snappy, but I always like having my samples. It lets you know that, okay, I don't like this, I want to adjust this and that. So that's why I have this, my front and my back joined together on the shoulder. Then I have the first one. This is the first sleeve, the one I was using this sample to draft. That is it on the center for spread. Of course, this is bigger than this. I'm making a miniature. I don't want to make something as big as this. A sample is a sample guide. You can make a sample guide in your own size as well. So this is the first one. And this is the normal sleeve that we have. We know we have it's not going to be as long as this. If you want it to be as long, fine, but I don't want it to be as long as this. Like, this is my main thing, but for some reason you can make it longer if you want to use it to face it in as like a lining. I hope you understand that it can as well work. This one, the necessity of this is that it matches exactly with your armhole. This is your guide. Then I have this as the facing, because not all of this part will go into the armhole. You understand when we start sewing. So this part, we have this is going to be the facing, and it must come way past the underarm. That is the essence. You can actually use a different fabric to cut this facing. It will give you another kind of beautiful style depending on your pattern and what you're designing. If your fabric for your design takes it, you can use another fabric to cut the facing, because it's going to show, you're going to like it. So we have 1, 2, 3. Then here, let's mark where we want this part, the sleeve edge, to stop. I'll choose this part. So you don't use your pen to mark your fabric. I only use this because I'm working on a sample and I hope it's clear, and I want it to be clear. So I'm going to notch this part. This is the part I chose. My sewing comes from here, it stops here, then my sleeve points out. If you want yours to change, by the time you make your first sample, then you'll decide. But for some reason, I'll advise you, like I've said, do the sample first, then choose how you want to do your own, and watch the video to the end. If by now you haven't subscribed, remember to subscribe to the channel, click the like button if you like what I'm teaching you, and feel free to share with your friends. Let's go on. Start by sewing this first two together, whatever the pattern you're using. It's a sample piece, so I'm not going to be going through. If you want, you can apply stay to give it more structure, but I'm not going to apply stay on this one to make a first sample, so we can all see what it's going to look like. Then you line this the way you line. Remember, if you're going to line, you're going to add sewing allowance when you're transferring your pattern to fabric, so do not forget that. trim off this place to give it that point when if you have too much allowance, trim them off, please. Hand this out. Push this out as just possible. If you have so much bulk in it, you have to cut it out, because when it's bulky, it doesn't come out as pointy as you want. And if you don't want it to be pointy, you can have a curve here. You can have it curved. Then for this, of course, if it's your usual fabric, you will have turned this in, but it's a sample, so I'm not going through all that. So here we go. This is our notch. And if you want, you can pin. So let's iron this. I've ironed this, well ironed. The pointy edge looking as sharp as it can. Then this is inside. So this is exactly what it looks like. You have a piece here, you have a piece here. So we start by attaching this. This is our center fold. I've already notched my center. Like there's a notch here. So this part is where this comes in. We start here. This is the outer, this is the inner sleeve. You put this inside. Now to start sewing, you sew the two together. Then when you get here to this notch, you're going to take this one, leave it out, and continue with this one only until we are done. If your pattern requires you having some ease on the shoulder line, you can use your, like, you know how you use your hand needle to create that ease on this before you get here. That's also applicable. Now this is where my notch is. Now I'm there. So here I leave my needle in and I leave this out. Voila. I have a little bit of excess here, so I'm going to try to use my hand to form the gathers. If you don't want to use your hand, you can use your needle and thread to create the needed gathers, the needed ease here. Then when you get here, you pull that back. That's as simple as that. And this comes back here. See? Make sure this is here. Now this is what you have: exaggerated pointed sleeve. Then you can go ahead and join the sides. Remember, if it's your sample, you'll have finished this bit, finish this part. This is your fabric. This is a sample, so we're not going through all the stress. Make sure your armhole aligns. In case you have excess, you work on that. So I'll prefer to join from the armhole, so I don't miss out on anything. Important, you have the underarm aligning, because we don't want your client raising the arm up and one seam is going south and one is going north. Trim off all your threads, but it gives us a perfect picture of what your point power shoulder looks like. Awesome. Imagine you having a fabric here, one here, one here, one here. Like this one is probably any of the three. Then you have a combo. I love this. This is let me call this gagacious. I can't wait to try it out on a jacket or on a crop jacket or a crop shirt. It's gonna be amazing. I don't have to say so much. This is what our sleeve looks like. You can already imagine what this would look like if you make it on your garment. It's something that makes some statement, and especially if you have a good fabric mixture here. So this part is showing. I'm liking it already. So I look forward to seeing yours. You can share the pictures of the videos with me. Other links to reach me are there on the comment section. See you in the next video. Remember to like, subscribe, and share. Take care. Cheers, y'all.